Hello everyone and welcome along to live coverage of round number 10 of the Inside Line Racing League season here in ILR1 on Xbox. I'm Ginger Andy. Joining me in the commentary box today, once again, we have Diablo, or James as we like to call him. It is the British Grand Prix, James. It's raining for qualifying. What a surprise. It always rains here, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's even raining outside now. But, hello everybody and welcome along to the home of British motorsport, the home of motorsport, however you want to look at it. The Silverstone circuit always provides some brilliant action and one of the fastest circuits on the calendar, some brilliant corners, and really has not, some parts of the circuit haven't really changed over the however many years they've been racing at Silverstone, way back past the 50s. So it's a long time now, nearly coming up to 80 years really racing around Silverstone, which is quite crazy, but a long time has passed, and we're looking forward to seeing how this wet qualifying session goes for 17 of the fastest runners on Xbox.
Yep, it should be a cracking race. I've unfortunately not been here the last couple of weeks, so I've got a lot of catching up to do in terms of the action on the racetrack. But what I have noticed is that Veloci Prize has, by his very high standards, James, been going through a bit of a slippery spell. 4th in Canada, 10th then in the French Grand Prix, as what you just described off air as one of the worst performances you've ever seen from Veloci Prize. And then in Austria, he came home in 3rd, which if you take out the 4th and 10th place in Canada and France is actually his worst performance of the season after that, because in the first 6 races it was 1st or it was 2nd, and he was totally on top of things, James. So things have swung round. It's not been going as well for Surprise. What do you think he has to do to put things right?
Well, I don't think that it's an awful case. A lot of the recent races haven't really been his fault, to be honest with you. I mean, Austria, I believe he had some sort of connection issue which prevented him from doing any sort of, really progressing his way through the pack, I believe. I don't quite remember, but I don't think it was I think it was connection issues for him. But he tells us on Twitter that he's sorted that now. He's got an Ethernet cable, so lucky him. But he's definitely one to watch still. I mean, the performance in Canada as well, it was very scrappy from Surprise. I mean, it was a bit of a mayhem towards turn 2, turn 3 at the French Grand Prix, and it really just didn't go well for him from there. He did have to make his way up through the pack, and he couldn't really attack anyone in front of him. It was just a bit of a nuisance for him. Although he could get past a lot of cars very quickly, he just sort of struggled to keep him on the racetrack at times. So there was a few times where he got himself into a bit too much trouble for his liking. Contact with Tiro Limitless being one of the main protocol of that Grand Prix.
Yep, absolutely. Well, see how things go for Surprise. As you say, getting that new Ethernet cable, he'll be a lot happier now. It should stable things up a little bit. Another thing we should mention is OMG It's Joe, and oh my goodness, he's had a great run of form of late. 2 victories, a win in Canada, a win in Austria, and a 2nd place in France. It was a bit of a patchy start to his season, wasn't it really, James? A couple of 4th places, then I did not start, I did not finish, and another did not start, and playing catch up from the early part of the season. But he's followed it up since that little patchy spell, 3rd, 1st, 2nd and 1st, and he's actually doing quite well to only find himself 58 points off the top of the standings. Where could he have been potentially if he'd been at every race, James? What an opportunity that is potentially been missed.
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely potential there for Joe. It's annoying, as you say, that he hasn't been able to make every Grand Prix this season. But the times he has turned up, I mean, 4th place finishes aren't exactly a bad spell to have. I mean, finishing 4th, I think some drivers in this field would definitely take that. Even the higher drivers would see that as good points. So, although it's not a podium, it's always there or thereabouts. And Joe really has, recent weeks, just upped it another gear. A win here today, and there's a real chance that this championship isn't going to be on the plate for the Welshman Veloci Surprise.
Yep, absolutely. Well, the car's out on the racetrack at the moment. 11 minutes to go in qualifying, and it seems like it's going to continue on like this. The intermediate conditions, we've not seen any major improvement so far. I'm keeping an eye on LCR Leopard. I'm sorry if I've been watching Leopard for a very long time, folks. I've just been getting my stuff together below me at my feet. And did he have a slide there? I think he did, actually. And he's had a really big slide and gone off the road, and he's going to go sliding off into the runoff area. And he's very fortunate that there's plenty of runoff area on this Silverstone circuit, because that could have been quite a nasty moment for LCR Leopard, who goes off the track there, James. And, I've seen it before. I was actually watching a couple of videos earlier on Twitter of other drivers in ILR having a bit of a moment through turns 1 and 2, and it's quite easy. We've seen Max Verstappen do that before, haven't we? Back in, I think it was 2015, where he had a crash there, and it's quite easy to go off there if you get your line wrong and end up on the curb or on the grass, especially in these damp conditions.
These damp conditions is pretty horrible. There's a bit of undulation at Silverstone. You can't really notice it on this game. Well, I mean, this game is a little bit different, but there is definitely undulation there. You can sort of dips down towards turn 1. It's quite weird. It's almost quite bumpy through the first couple of corners of this circuit. But there's even the braking zone down towards turn 3. Easy to lock up the left front tyre, or even the right front tyre as well, depending on how you approach it. But it's definitely a corner at the start of the race, which is never easy to get through all in one piece.
Okay, interesting. Just having a look through the settings at the moment. For some reason, there is no game audio. Oh, there we go. It's back now. I think it was a bug with the game. I just had to pause the game and unpause it, and all of a sudden we've got the audio back again. So apologies, folks, if you were tuning in without any audio from the game. You were hearing us, our beautiful voices, but you weren't hearing any of the game action. Now you can hear those V6s, those pesky V6s. I'm not going to repeat what Sebastian Vettel said in the Russian Grand Prix last weekend. That would get me taken off air. But yeah, good to see that we are back with some audio of the cars out on track. And Jason, 97 F1, early doors here, James, has popped up into the top 4. And that's a pretty solid effort from him, isn't it?
Absolutely it is. It's a fine effort so far, but consider that a lot of drivers will be probably running a heavy fuel and just lapping around the circuit, just trying to feel the improvement on these intermediate tyres. Then towards the end, they'll go really low on the fuel and then just get a nice fresh set of intermediate tyres and just go out for one quick lap towards the end. That's probably what you'll start to see in this session. But someone we haven't mentioned yet, Andy, is Mr. TSR Baztek. Now, for all of those who were watching last week, we know that Baztek finished second in Austria, which is, in ILR standards, unbelievable. Like, that is truly something that we don't often see. That is a major shock for the Haas driver. And Haas, as we've said this year, been very much consolidating that midfield, but they are definitely dark horses. They're there or thereabouts on their day, and that was just an exceptional performance from TSR Baztek, and maybe have been helped by the lack of penalties, but definitely maybe a man to watch around these around the Silverstone circuit.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic effort that from TSR Baztek to come home in second place. Can he build on that and follow it up with another really strong result as CRL Rosberg just jumps out of his way there as the drivers slip and slide their way through Maggots and Beckett's and then on to Chapel. So Baztek, yeah, that would be a fantastic result if he could follow it up again. A great second place last time out. His best result this season up until that point was 5th on a couple of occasions. So that just goes to show how amazing a job that is from TSR Baztek. His teammate Jam Pancakes has failed to start the last 4 races, so he's coming back into the fold as well. So he'll be hoping, having been encouraged by what his teammate has done in recent weeks, to try and do the same, because we know that Jam Pancakes is also a really solid driver, isn't he, James?
Absolutely, he is, and he's always at the thick of the actions, Jam Pancakes. You always seem to find him in loads of carnage throughout the race. Usually it's just really hard racing, and I love to see it with him when you ride on board with him, because he's always got a car either alongside him or he's passing someone. It's brilliant to always watch Jam Pancakes. Quality little driver, always improving, as we've said a number of times this season. But I think we should really look at someone on a lap and just see what the Silverstone circuit's like in these challenging conditions. On board lap with someone. Yeah. Let's find someone.
Yeah, let's do that. Lots of surprise, just crossed the line. He's just improved by 10th. Is he starting another flying lap? No, he's in mode 0, so we'll not go to that. Let's see if we can find someone out there, either starting one or about to go onto one. Well, actually, before we do that, we'll keep an eye on Cedar James at the minute, because he's 2.5 tenths up going through the middle sector, or the first sector I believe it was. We'll see where he is through the middle sector. He's really pushing that, drifting the rear end, asking for more from the rear tyres. And what's he going to do through the second sector? Cedar, the man second in the standings, he's lost a little touch of time, but he's still around 2 tenths up on his previous best, and that might be enough to move him up into the top 4. And it looks like the rain is easing as well, James, so the track should dry out bit by bit. Let's keep an eye there on Cedar as he comes to the end of the lap. The track should start to dry in the remaining 5.5 minutes. Will it dry enough, though, to see anyone out on slicks? It could be a case of last man across the line. This could be some session. Cedar around the final corner and goes third quickest. Finds a little bit more time in that final sector as the time continues to tumble. On you go, James. Take us through a lap on board with Cedar then as he starts another one.
Absolutely, let's see what he can do. And down towards turn 3 of, I think this is Village Corner. Really, really difficult corner to get right. Then through the loop of turn 4. So many different lines you can take through here, but he decides to take a very tight line as opposed to some people who would opt to go that little bit wider. Then through entry corner, take it almost flat out in the dry, always just toying with the throttle in the wet conditions, and then down the straight down towards. This is Brooklands, I believe, into the corner, which really, if you go and watch the Grand Prix live, is a great viewing point for many people. And then through Loughborough, it looks like he may have backed out, or he's just really slow through there. I think he has backed out of a lap on this occasion, and he seems to short shift his way up down the national pit straight. Definitely isn't an attempt of a lap, but yeah, we'll need to find someone with a bit more commitment, I feel, through these fast-flowing corners, and at the moment I seem to find that. But at the moment it's Joe from Surprise and Sarah in third. Carl Mitchell fourth, and Peter Brown actually not doing a bad job for himself in fifth. He's had a bit of a torrid season, really, up to this point. There's been times where he's looked really strong in Williams, but the Williams as like a team this season just hasn't looked amazing. Brown definitely hasn't had the results that maybe he would have done last year. A couple of podiums last season.
Yeah, Fiona Brown here, we're looking to try and pull together a strong result here, and there's a real chance for anyone, really, you know, to push themselves up towards the top of the timesheet. So the track drying out, Fiona Brown currently 2 seconds down on his current lap time, and there are a lot of drivers sitting in the pits waiting and probably keeping an eye on the screens, because it'll tell them if the track is dry enough for the dry tyres, but obviously not yet, as the LCR Leopard is going to start a lap. Everybody in the pits apart from Leopard, Langman, Dralex and everyone else is in the pit lane just waiting for that magic moment where they might be able to go on to a set of dry tyres. Personally, James, going by my my experience of watching races and looking at the track right now, I don't think it's going to be ready for dries by the end of the session. Do you?
There's such a, when it's offline, it's so wet out there. I just don't think. I think you're right. I don't think they will be able to, and you only ever be able to notice when the DRS flap comes wide open. But what they'll be looking for in their garages is that delta coming down all the time. They'll be wanting to go out as late as they dare, with the delta always dropping as quickly as it does, because when it does, it means it's getting closer and closer to the dry tyres that those guys really want to get their laps on with. And in these conditions, if you're going to set a lap on dries, then they will still have to do what they would do in the race if it was a normal dry qualifying lap. That would be the sort of tyres they used in this qualifying session. Leopard's getting very hairy through Cops Corners and its way down to Maggotts and Beckett's.
Yeah, well, let's go through that section of the lap. Sierra backed out of his. Leopard certainly pushing on as he goes through Maggotts, Beckett's and then into Chapel. It really is a stunning sequence of corners. James was saying earlier, if you stand at Brooklands, we stood there together one year, James, didn't we? A couple of years ago. It is a great spot to watch the action, but I have to say, if you're a practice session or a qualifying session, get yourself down to Maggotts and Beckett's. There is nothing like it on the Formula 1 calendar, as LCR Leopard now heads into the final part of the lap, where Verstappen and Vettel had their bump earlier on this season in the real life world. As Leopard, surprisingly, James, is going to elect to complete this lap, and it's only a 38.0. No improvement there. He must have backed out of that one. But why did he not choose to pit and fit another set of tyres? Would he not have time? I don't think he would have time, actually.
Well, he's not going to have time anymore, because everyone is pouring out the pits here at Silverstone. Everyone seems to think the last minute's to lose, and they're all coming out. It really will now be a case of whoever comes out last and is able to begin a lap will get the best track and the best opportunity for a run. And they're all coming out on dry tyres as well, all on super soft compound tyres. Well, sorry, soft compound tyres, I should say.
Pouring out the pits. This could look a lot like Monza from the real life world. They could all be queuing up in the final corner, trying to be the last man over the line. I'm not sure who it will be at the moment. I think Sierra's going to be the first man over the line. Unless are they not all on inters? Oh wait, no, they're not. Sorry, I've got it unfitted. Sorry, my apologies. I had it on best. I now have it unfitted. And OMG, it's Joe is on dries. Surprise. Sierra on inters. Well, you can see it for yourself. I'm not going to read through it. Somebody's off the road. That's Kyle Mitchell. Surprise is retired too. And Kyle Mitchell's sliding his way off the track there on his way out of the pits.
Too wet.
I don't think it's ready for the dries. It's far too wet. Goodness me. Limitless struggling too. They're trying to get temperature into the tyres. Look at Kyle Mitchell doing everything he can. Oh, maybe not. He's going off into the wall. Session over. So who is out there then? Sierra's just started a flying lap on the inters, but he's going to be the first man to see the checkered flag. How's that going to work out for him? I'm not too sure. This order is going to chop and change like crazy in the dying seconds of qualifying here, James, isn't it?
Yeah, there is, and they're all backing each other up into the final section. It's exactly like the Monza race that we had earlier on this season. And Verstappen's off the road as well. Those soft tyres aren't ready. They're not warm enough to get a lap completed around here then. So it will be the last salute for any one of those intermediates if they can get a nail lap, but they're struggling for grip as well. It's so greasy out there at the moment.
Feisty Ted might be the last man over the line. The likes of Rosberg and Joe, they're trying to squeeze it round the final corner. Is Joe going to reach the line? Yes, he is. On dries. I want to keep an eye on Joe. Is there any temperature in those tyres? He's really fighting it through turns 1 and 2. Is he going to manage it? Pinecone's out there just in front of him. They're both tippy-toeing round Snazzy Evening. They're all just about going to get round in time to do a lap. Where is Cera though? He's the first man round there. I think DRS enabled, so it might be time. It might be time. Cera's going to be the first man over the line on those intermediate tyres. He's not finding time. He's losing time. A 10th down through the second sector. Is it, after all of that, coming to those on the soft compound tyre? Let's watch Cera through the final couple of corners. Has he got anything in those intermediate tyres left at the end of the session? It doesn't look like it. Look at the clock ticking up and over. It's 2 tenths slower. 2 tenths slower. There's no point watching Brown. There's no point watching Jason. Let's keep an eye on the likes of Bastic, the likes of Pinecone, the likes of OMG, it's Joe at the end of this session. Rosberg as well. This is incredible. Let's keep an eye then in Bastic. He's going to be the first of the people on the dry tyre to see the checkered flag. What's it going to be? Well, how much time is he finding? He's getting a nice toe off of Feisty Ted there as he reaches for the brake pedal. Second last time out. Can he build on that with a massive finish here in qualifying? OMG, it's Joe's one of the last men to see the flag. Snazzy Evening, 5-second grid penalty for a collision with Feisty Ted. Here comes Bastic round the final corner. Is he quick? No, he's slow. He's very slow. 8th quickest. Pinecone's pitted. Greylex is pitted. Rosberg round the final corner improves to 10th. OMG, it's Joe, he's seen the flag, and at the end of all of that, James, I think both tyres were useless.
Yeah, no tyre could clear the water. There's still so much grease almost on it. That's what it felt like for these drivers. They could not get the temperature and the grip in the tyres. People like Joe though and Pinecone, I was watching them on their laps. They were backing each other up like they were really close together on circuit. There was a train of cars, about 4 or 5. Just sitting right on the gearboxes of each other, and that's not going to help themselves on a lap here either. So there has been a few drivers who have made some really good inroads in the qualifying session, but not enough, and it's a Mercedes lockout.
Well, that was strange. You know, we always get something rather strange happening in ILR, and that was very interesting. I didn't expect that to happen, of all the possible things that could have happened there. And, well, there you go. It turns out, when the track was wet, that was when it was its quickest, because when it dried out, the inters were useless, and it was still too damp for the softs, and that pretty much ruined the final part of qualifying, and that leaves us with the grid as it was before the track dried out. And that, as you say, James, is a Mercedes lockout with OMG's Joe on pole and Velocity's a prize alongside. Cera starts from 3rd, Kyle Mitchell starts from a solid P4. 5th position for P1R Brown, 6th for Jason. That's a solid effort from him. He'll be delighted with that. Leopard only 7th. Bastic starts from 8th, 9th for Pinecone, and Ciarel Rosberg rounds out the top 10 in the Racing Point. Limitless is next, then Langman, Dreylex, Snazzy Evening, WR Verstappen, Jam Pancakes and Feisty Ted rounding out the grid. Boy oh boy, that was strange, James, wasn't it?
That was rather bizarre. It was maybe one of the weirdest sessions I've ever seen on this game. Really, really peculiar stuff. But actually, the only person who improved on their time in that last moments of qualifying was Cera Rosberg, and he was the only one, if you could see there, set his time on the soft tyres. Means actually he's going to have to start the race on him, because he's actually qualified inside the top 10, so he may have even been better off not setting a time at all.
Yeah, he's the only man in the entire field that actually has to start the tyres he qualified on. I mean, that's pretty bizarre, I mean, how often does that happen, that only one driver in the entire field has to start the tyres they qualified on? That might be an ILR first, folks. I think we're going to have to delve deep into the history books that aren't even deep enough to give us the answer to that stat. So I'm just going to go along with it and say that it is the first time ever. So there you go. Wow, what a strange qualifying session, but it sets us up for quite an interesting race. The revived OMG It's Joe, who's finally getting on top of things on this game after an early struggle against Velocity's Prize, who has had a dip. So the two drivers, they're kind of meeting in the middle now, Joe, aren't they? The Prize in a dip, Joe on the rise, and here they are locking out the front row together.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see how these Mercedes really do have to pull off the line, and they've got to sort of break away from the rest of the field quite quickly, you'd feel. But I think the most important thing at the start of a race where everyone, apart from Rosberg, has qualified on intermediates, is what tyre they're all going to start on. And as for the two Mercedes drivers, they've opted for the mediums, as of Sarah, then Carl Mitchell, Brown, Jason. They've all opted for the soft, so they will be quick off the line, and that is interesting because they're all in behind those on medium tyres. Then you've got Leopard, Baztec, Pinecone, they're all on the mediums as well. Ciro Rosberg and Tyrrell Limitless, both the Racing Points, opting for the softs. Langman on the mediums, Drelix on the softs, Verstappen on the mediums, Jampank on the softs, and then finally Feisty Ted and Snaz Evening with his 5-place grid penalty for causing a collision with Feisty Ted. Starts from the back of the grid on mediums.
Yeah, and I actually think he got that penalty with both drivers driving as AI, so that might be a really unfortunate one for Snazzy Evening. That's my assumption. I saw Feisty Ted's car going slowly, and I think by that point Snazzy might already have been out of the session, so I'm guessing he got a 5-place penalty for that, otherwise it would have been a pretty silly penalty to pick up. But Sira, he's certainly got the pace to match the Prize and Joe, so he's going to be right in there causing a nuisance. And as you mentioned, James, with the soft compound tyre with Kyle, Brown and Jason behind, usually when you're starting on different tyres from the leaders and you're on quicker tyres, it doesn't usually pay off. But the fact of the matter is, these are fresh tyres. They haven't qualified on them at all, so they will have that extra bit of advantage too to try and boost them up and pass them. So this should be a really interesting start to the race, won't it?
Absolutely, it will be. But the other thing I'm just going to think about right now is just the fact that there's a few guys who've all opted. It's quite an even split for softs and medium, or more so in the medium favour. But really, that may even suggest that there is rain looming. I mean, I would struggle to believe that everyone would have put the same tyres on if they knew it was going to be a fully dry race. The possibility of rain. It's cloudy. We might see it.
Yeah, we might. We can't rule it out. We love that we don't know about it because sometimes people let me know what the weather's going to do, and you know, I do like to know sometimes, but in this occasion, I don't. I don't want to know. The cloudy skies, you don't know what's coming next, and it could throw a real curveball in there. We all know what happened back in Spain. Will that happen once again? We'll find out in round 10. It's a Mercedes lockout here at Silverstone. The 5 red lights go on, and we are racing at the British Grand Prix in ILR1. It's a good start from OMG's Joe. It's a better start from Surprise. He's pulling alongside. He's taking the lead into the first corner. The Welshman through. They're side by side going down into the loop, and it looks like OMG's Joe is keen to fight back on the outside. He outbreaks him and dives back through ahead. It's he leading from his teammate, and Cena's in there too with Kyle Mitchell keeping him honest on those fast starting soft compound tyres. They're all slipstreaming each other down the straight and towards the braking zone. Is there going to be any moves? Kyle Mitchell diving up the inside on Cena on those soft tyres, and he's found a way through, has he? Cena keeping his nose in there, not giving up as they go side by side through the lap field, and it looks like Kyle is going to fight that one hard and win the battle potentially. Flashbacks here to the opening lap battle between Daniel Ricciardo and Lando Norris in the British Grand Prix, and we've got a shunt into the wall. That's one of the title contenders. That's Cena off and P1 Brown in the barrier down at Copse, and that's a disaster, James.
That's the one thing you don't want to do on cold tyres on the opening lap of British Grand Prix. That's go flat through Copse, and even going side by side through there as well. Just never going to happen. Surprised he got bogged down by his teammate, who held him so brilliantly around the outside through the first couple of corners that he just bogged down, and so many cars were able to try and swarm against him. He couldn't do much about it, but those Mercedes were really under pressure then from the McLaren of Carl Mitchell, who's right on the gearbox of the Welshman of Surprise now.
Yeah, we said that, didn't we, in the build-up on that formation lap, that these are fresh soft tyres. They should last longer, they should work longer, and Kyle Mitchell using it to full effect. It was a real flashback to Ricciardo against Norris on that opening lap at Silverstone this season, wasn't it? Fighting like crazy. Unfortunately, it came to an end at Copse as Cedar and P1 Brown came to grief, but the two Mercedes leading at the moment. We've got a yellow flag. TRL Limitless is in trouble. And what's happened to him? I think he's in a spin or contact going through turns 1 and 2. Not too sure. He's got back going again. No sign of any damage on the Racing Point, but there must have been contact or a spin there for TRL Limitless, James.
Yeah, it must have been. It was unusual to see him fall that far back, whereas his teammate has had the opposite effect in this Grand Prix. He's had a tremendous start. He's up in 6th place. Really good start from Cyril Rosberg, possibly helped by contact on the opening lap.
Yeah, we see that so often from CRL Rosberg. He likes to come scything through the field, usually from outside the top 10, just inside the top 10 today, but it isn't stopping him from continuing this charge as we go on board with Kyle Mitchell hunting down the two silver arrows through Maggots, through Beckett, and now on towards Chapel. And look at the exit that Kyle Mitchell has got as he runs now down towards the braking zone for Stowe. Down the hanger straight they go. Any sign of a move? Nope, doesn't look like it. But Kyle Mitchell is really hassling the two Mercedes at the moment, James, isn't he? Pardon me.
Yeah, he is, absolutely. The DRS going to be open the next lap. He almost saving energy as well. You can see the light flashing at the back of that McLaren means he's saving energy through the final sector. And wise for him to do so as well. The slowest point of this Silverstone circuit, the only pace you can really afford to do that. And Joe then will now have to just flex his muscles because he is going to be under some severe pressure from his teammate Veloce Price. He's going to have to get properly racy against his teammate down into Brooklands again.
Yep, not only that, we've got CRL Rosberg jostling with TSR Bastic further behind, but I'm not going to go to that at the moment because this is box office stuff. As Kyle Mitchell tries to line up a move as we look from the rear axle of that McLaren. He's now right up behind the back of them, no sign of a move, so we will now go to CRL Rosberg. Is he close enough to a move on Bastic? No, he is not. Langman further down the field, I think, is having a battle with Drelex. He's going side by side and he's getting through there. So Langman makes that move up into the top 10. Drelex, the Canadian driver, drops down into P11 as Snazzy Evening makes some progress in P12, having started from the back. But we need to go back to the front, James, don't we?
Absolutely, and Kyle Mitchell really has got to clear these two Mercedes as quickly as possible. Crucial for his race that he does as well, because he has then the initiative on those soft tyres. He already has the idea really behind him to just really make them work. Those two Mercedes drivers on those medium tyres, they need to work for this, and I think he will be as well, because Kyle Mitchell is really closing in on Surprise Baby towards turn of Stowe Corner. Not quite on this occasion. Joe's still managing to cover off his teammate for now, but it's getting mighty tight.
Yeah, Surprise there was really throwing that car into Stowe, asking a lot of questions of it. You could see the rear squirming on his car as we watched on board from Kyle Mitchell's point of view as they go through the final couple of corners. I tell you what, we have to say this. Jason, by the way, just said a fastest lap, has just immediately been beaten by Bastic and then Rosberg. What an effort this is from Jason. How long is it since we've seen that man fighting up at the front? And he's not exactly dropping off the back of Kyle in the top three, is he? Not really. He's still right there, and that's a really impressive job, albeit on the soft compound tyre, as Kyle is so close to the back of Surprise, but Surprise getting that DRS to his teammate. There isn't going to be any way through there at the moment. And as we saw in the F1 Esports series during the week in the Austrian Grand Prix with Freddie Rasmussen, these drivers don't want to go overtaking too early. They like to save their ERS, wait for the perfect moment, and then pounce when their rival can't bite back because they're using up their own energy. And, you know, I put a tweet up during the week, James, I don't know what your opinion is, but is the ERS model damaging the racing a little?
A little bit. It's I like the realism of it, but it's very, very difficult to sort of, I mean, on this game anyway, real life F1 is a bit different, but especially on this game, it's very difficult for drivers to actually save the ERS. You have to do it in the last sectors where you want them to maybe push a bit more, so there's a bit more of a difference in speed through those sectors and making an opportunity for someone. Surprise looking for an opportunity, by the way, trying to go for a move, which I may be looking for it into the Stowe corner, and once again just having to back out, but he's getting mighty close. His dirty air will be hurting the front tyres of that Mercedes of Veloce Surprise.
Yeah, well, we have been speaking, haven't we, about the ERS management. Let's have a little look at it. Surprise, 60% at the minute. Let's go to OMG, it's Joe. He's at 84%, so he's actually saving quite well as well, which is a little bit strange. It's almost as if Surprise thinks he's draining Joe's battery, but Joe also is aware that Surprise is trying to save his battery, so Joe's realised, okay, if you're not going to attack, I'm not going to need to defend, and it's just a stalemate, isn't it?
It is, yeah, but he's also defending really well, is Joe, and to be fair, he's just saving ERS. Well, maybe Surprise, isn't it? But see, he's going to have to get defended now because Surprise is getting mighty close again towards Brooklands, and these top three are so close together on the race circuit. It's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely magnificent. Incredible to see that everyone in the top 8 is within 8/10 of one another. Not all together within 8/10, but there's no gap over that margin, which is absolutely great to see. As Jam Pancakes picks up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting as we continue to watch the leaders. This is such an evenly matched race between everyone in this field. Jason is right there. Bastic isn't too far back. Rosberg in the mix too. Leopard, Pinecone, the top 8, all so close. And it's so great to see as Rosberg now gathers a 3-second time penalty, and he'll be annoyed about himself for that one. But Kyle Mitchell is as close as he's ever been going down the straight. Saving the battery though, not going for the move. Surprise has a little look from behind. OMG, it's Joe decides better of it. And yeah, it remains as they were. But Kyle Mitchell on those soft tyres, is it slightly surprising, James, that someone on the quicker tyre isn't prepared to go gung-ho and make that move and rather than save the battery? As Rosberg gets past Bastic. Oh, that's a battle. Hold on, James. That's a crazy battle there. Rosberg making a move on Bastic, and Bastic now side by side with Leopard. Bastic going backwards at the minute, and he's dropped 1.6 seconds then off the back of Jason, so he must have had a moment. Rosberg has got his way through. Bastic trying to fight back. Leopard and Pinecone right in there. The four of them all squabbling like crazy, and Leopard's going for it. Up the inside into the loop. That was brave. That was brilliant. Feisty as always from LCR Leopard. Nothing wrong with that. Through he goes and up into the top six, and Pinecone looks like he's going to try and follow suit in the Alfa Romeo. Can he make a move? Oh, he's going to go for it! That was so late from Pinecone. Can he get it through? Can he get it done? Oh, he can! Lick the stamp and send it. Brilliant stuff from Pinecone, and he moves up into 7th place, catching Bastic by surprise, who has lost 1, 2, 3 places in a couple of sectors. What a move from Pinecone.
Brilliant stuff from Pinecone on his return to ILR. The reserve driver in the Alfa Romeo, but really proving a point here, and great stuff for him. Those soft tyres you were just talking about, Carl Mitchell, I feel like now will be the phase where you'll start to see them fall away. If he can't get surprise now, it's going to damage his race potentially. He just needs to get on with it, as Joe weaving again down the Hanger Straight, and really hasn't been an opportunity down towards Stowe. Not on this occasion, but Carl Mitchell is so late on the brakes. They're so evenly matched, these top three.
Yeah, they are right next to each other. Kyle Mitchell putting in a great shift. Jason only half a second off the back of them. What a drive this is turning into for Jason in the early laps. It is only lap 6 out of 26, but that qualifying has been backed up by some pretty solid race pace. So good effort there from him so far as Kyle Mitchell continues to follow the two Silver Arrows. Is there going to be any kind of move on lap number 7 then? So back to my question, James. Do you think Kyle Mitchell, would you maybe expect him to go a little bit more gung-ho?
But possibly, but I mean, it's so difficult for him, because if he does go full guns blazing, really, he's going to fall himself a bit vulnerable to Jason behind, and if he gets it wrong, he's maybe too far back to go for these opportunistic moves that he could go for. But the nature of this circuit is there's not many heavy braking zones, and when there are, it's just usually before or after, I should say, a DRS zone. So usually for him, right now, he'd be thinking just stick with these guys now. I mean, it's not really a race that he can afford to just keep dropping away from them. He's got to stay with them. If he can make an overtake, he's got to make it stick, and he's got to show that he's got the pace to pull away from them.
Tell you what, we thought these softs might be dying. Going by the grip he had going through Copse Corner in the dirty air, I don't think so. That was astonishing. He's pushing Surprise almost through this section, and he's picked up a 3-second time penalty. That's not what you need, Kyle. That is not what you need. As Veloci Surprise is getting closer to his teammate. Is he going to go for it this time down into Stowe? No, he's not. No way through, and Joe continues to hold firm. Oh, and Surprise gets a little bit wide there onto the curb, but there's no way through, as Jason now is right with the group, and it's now gone from a trio into a foursome.
Absolutely, but thinking about it, Jason's not had this awful effect of dirty air sat in front of him. He's been behind these cars the whole race, but he's not been close enough to really challenge them apart from now. So he may have that bit more life in his soft tyres to really go and attack these guys in front of him. They are prey, and they need to be pounced upon.
Yep, absolutely. And Jason is a very, very consistent driver. Rarely picks up time penalties. Kyle Mitchell picking that 3 seconds up might cost him a podium and could hand Jason a superb result, an enormous result, if things stay the way they are and he continues this fine pace, because he is more than capable, Jason, of going through this race without any issues. As the battle at the front intensifies, and Leopard there, he's got a move done on Rosberg, has he, James?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he just dived down the inside into Brooklands corner. It looked like Pinecone was going to try and go around the outside of Luffield on Rosberg. Could not pull it off on this occasion, but it's already kicking off back at the front as well. Carl Mitchell closing in so much on Surprise. I don't think he's got a straight line speed on that Mercedes. I think it's quite clear as the Mercedes actually gets a penalty. Surprise has got a penalty in this race. That's big news for him in this Grand Prix, and really could damage it completely.
It's big news for Jason as well. Oh boy, he'll be loving that. He will be loving that if he hears that, because Jason, and I say it again, very, very rarely picks up penalties when he's in the groove, and he looks to be in the groove today. That could potentially line him up for a second place. Long way to go, of course, but boy, he likes that, as Bastic now is the latest to be added to the list of time penalties. 3 seconds added to his name. Things not looking good for Surprise as he rattled behind his teammate. Very rare to see him pick up penalties like that. All going well for OMG. It's Joe, James.
Absolutely, but you've got to consider this would be Surprise's best result for the last 3 or 4 races. It's been a while since he's been second, even winning a Grand Prix, so would be something to him. He's got DRS now, though. This looks like the opportunities he needs.
Oh, I'm not watching it. I'm going to go and find it. Oh, I'm struggling. Come on,
on this occasion.
Okay, no problem. Keeping me on my toes there, James. It's Pinecone, though. He's getting right close to CRL Rosberg. I thought he was going to go for it. He can't quite do it. Are the softs now maybe beginning to struggle? Kyle Mitchell dropping to 6/10 back, and Pinecone attacking a soft runner in CRL Rosberg. Is this the moment where the momentum will shift? Perhaps it is, as Pinecone is only a 10th behind Rosberg going through Copse, but he can't make the move through there. We need to go back to the leaders, though, and Surprise is right there. 2/10, 3/10. Is he going to try this time to get the move? Because he might, James, want that first pit stop. That might be that important.
It really could be. That is the way that most teams in league racing decide that sort of fate. Maybe not in real life Formula 1 says, as you got the Russian Grand Prix, but we'll cross over that. Pinecone's up for a move on Rosberg into Stowe corner. That must have been some effort down the inside, because he was on the inside line. He's got that through on the inside. Stowe, great move. That must have been from Pinecone. Now Rosberg's dropping away. That's because he's into the pits.
Yep, Rosberg into the pits, gets it slowed down just about in time, and away he goes down the pit lane. No point in watching that. So let's go back to the two Mercedes out front, as Sira now pops in the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, a 1 minute 29.976 on the medium tyres after that early bump at the start of the race, which has really damaged his efforts today. As Surprise continues to follow his teammate Kyle Mitchell, now 7/10 back. Is he now beginning to lose the benefit of the slipstream? Perhaps he is. Jason keeping him honest as things stand, as the two Mercedes continue to duel out front. This is what we want to see, James, isn't it? Go against Surprise, and we might be treated to it later on in this Grand Prix.
Absolutely, it could be titanic between these two. It's a battle that really would be for the ages. Between those two Mercedes drivers who have put on such a good show over the course of the season as a team. This would really be some properly good combat between those two. But if these guys on the softs behind, they want to be looking to stop as soon as possible now, because the longer they stay out, the more time they're going to lose on those tyres. So pitting earlier may actually benefit them. So Dan's will Stowe then for Surprise. He's going to get close enough to Joe. I don't think he is on this occasion. It's just that waiting game for Surprise, when he's able to get Joe into a mistake.
Oh, speaking of chances, Pinecone very close to Leopard. Oh my goodness, he's close. He's almost pushing him through Stowe. Is he going to go for it? Nope, not quite. Into the pits comes Kyle Mitchell and Jason. So, crucial moment for them. Can they get that perfect outlap and start applying some pressure on the leaders on the fresh compound of tyres? Who knows? They might, James. I almost forgot. They're going to have fresher tyres than these guys. And they're going to be pushing hard as Pinecone is right on Leopard. Look at this. On you go, Pinecone, son. Beautiful move up the inside. Gives Leopard a taste of his own medicine, and through he goes. Leopard tries a massive cutback, but he's not going to be able to do it, I don't think. He will have the DRS. Leopard is draining the battery. He's only got 12% left. Is he going to fight this one? He wants to, but he can't. And Pinecone has already pulled off one stunning move in this race, and it's a second to his name, James. Brilliant.
The commitment to go around the outside of an ILR champion like that is really something to behold from Pinecone. That was brave stuff. Around the outside on the inside through turn 1, just had to size himself up through turn 2, and then it's a broad braking zone into 3, and he nailed it to Pinecone. That's a brilliant move. And Snazzy even finds his way past Verstappen just before Copse corner.
Yeah, wow, good move that from Snazzy. He didn't quite see it, but well done to him. As Surprise looks like he means business on this lap. He's right up behind OMG and Joe. Are we going to see a move for the lead? Joe moves to the right-hand side of the racetrack to defend. Surprise tries to go right round the outside of his teammate. The two Silver Arrows battling like crazy. They're banging wheels on the exit of the corner, and that looks like it's going to end in tears if it carries on like that. Total Wolf is tearing his hair out.
Still side by side.
Holds on for now. Surprise dives through into the lead of the Grand Prix. Boy, oh boy, James. There was no love lost there. And Surprise mugs him to take the lead away.
That was hard as nails, that move. That was absolutely brilliant between these two drivers who are really trying to go for this championship. So close together on the racetrack. Could have ended in tears, but they managed to keep it out of the walls. And that is proper racing between those two. Hard as you like, and I love it. That is tremendous stuff.
Oh my goodness me, that was proper racing. That is only going to simmer the pot more. And I tell you what, James. Not only is it going to simmer the pot in the battle between the two drivers and maybe lead to more contact later on, because if it's certainly wheel banging there, it's going to invite Jason and Kyle Mitchell to come reeling them in, isn't it? As they wait to make a pit stop, because Kyle Mitchell's got 17 seconds of clean air in front of him to work in, so that is big news for him. We should also mention that Jason lost 2.5 seconds somewhere, presumably in the pits, and if that's the case, that is a massive, massive shame for him, because these two are knocking lumps out of each other at the front. ERS modes have gone in the bin. We're getting a real race now, and OMG, it's Joe is right on the tail of surprise again, but ducks out of it and decides to think better of it. What did you make of the move, James? Did Surprise gain an advantage by running off the track onto the AstroTurf through Stowe and gaining the inside line for the next couple of corners? Because that is a talking point.
He didn't have much sort of choice, to be honest to him. He couldn't really have done much more than back out of that. And to be honest, I love the fact that he went for it. He just had to go for it. And the fact that he stayed that committed, he had the trust that his teammate would eventually give him the space. But it's hard, this is what I mean. It's so on the edge of what is really necessary now. I mean, in real life racing now, you may be seeing the black and white flag for that, but that is just such brilliant racing between those two. The commitment was there, and that is what's brilliant. They just really, really wanted that position, and it's something that in league racing you don't see enough of, that almost grit and determination, the passion to get back through and take the lead of the race like that, because it was brilliant stuff.
I know we don't have pit walls in league racing, but if there was one, I think the Mercedes pit wall would be taking note in that fastest lap from Kyle Mitchell. He's just pumped one in and is surely going to put himself into the pit window of these two as they continue to jostle. So that is a big, big factor that we'll need to consider in this Grand Prix, as Joe is really right on the tail of surprise. What's his mindset at the moment, James? Is it keep things cool, keep things calm, or does he want to get back ahead of his big rival? Overtake, is that what you think? Go for
absolutely.
it then, why don't you, Joe?
Yeah, he just can't quite on this occasion, and Leopard's gone round the outside of Pinecone into Stowe. What a great move that was around the outside. Very, very low on the brakes was the Renault, and he got it all stopped in time against the Alfa Romeo. There's a great odd scrap going on in that midfield.
Oh, brilliant. There's action everywhere. The top two have been fighting like crazy. Pinecone, having just put a great move on Leopard, has now been done again by LCR Leopard straight back. So great stuff. I actually missed that one. I only caught the tail end of it, but through went Leopard up into third position. So great job there from LCR Leopard. The champion moves up into third position, but it's quite a good old scrap developing there. Bastic and Snazzy Evening. And Snazzy Evening, by the way, he's slowly but surely been making his way right up into this group, hasn't he? Great effort.
Yeah, he has. He's really making a nuisance of himself. He actually believed, he said in the chat just before, well, he said in the chat just before the race had gone underway, he had the pace. He believed he had the pace for pole position here today. He would have got pole, and Pinecone is pushing Leopard around left field corner there, getting so close to the back and just can't find a way through. Great stuff between those two. So hard racing once again at Silverstone. This is the best circuit really for that sort of hard racing, I suppose. There's many, many great circuits, but this one just seems to throw it out all at the same time as Joe's really closing through Maggots and Beckett's.
Yeah, he is absolutely all over the back of surprise. Yes, he's in mode 5. He's going for it. He's going for it. Mode 4. Here we go, folks. Fireworks. Buckle yourself up. If you're on the Mercedes pit wall, they're going side by side again. And Joe eases through back into the top spot as we get nearer and nearer to that pit window. Well, 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 that's what it's all about now. That's why we're seeing the combat. They want to be in the pits first. So will Surprise retaliate on this lap, James?
He may well do, as Pincone's the first of the medium runners to make a pit stop, so he's really set the benchmark for everyone else to think about, and these guys at the front may even consider pitting themselves as well. Surprise closing again down towards turn 3, maybe an opportunity towards Brooklyn's corner. We'll have to wait and find out with the DRS wide open.
Yep, he's setting it up, James. He's setting up. He took a wider line on the entrance there to try and get that slingshot that he needs to get back past his teammate as they make their way down the Wellington Straight. OMG, it's Joe. It's your leader on lap number 15 out of 26. All of the top 8 have yet to make a pit stop. Kyle Mitchell is the man who might be threatening to take the lead away from these guys, because he's been lapping, having pitted early from the softs onto the mediums to go to the end. He's been lapping quicker than these two while they've been battling, and he plans to go to the finish. So that is a big key that we need to remember. Jason now 3.1 behind Kyle. He's going to be there or thereabouts, but I would think in between Kyle Mitchell and the Mercedes. So I don't think he's going to be able to do it. So here comes Surprise again. 4 tenths back from OMG. It's Joe. Maybe struggling to follow the same way OMG's Joe was able to follow. Is that a factor we should be aware of, James? What do you think about that?
I said this earlier in the race that Carl Mitchell couldn't go close to the back of Surprise, because I think that Surprise is running a less wing on that Mercedes. He looks very, very good in a straight line, but just doesn't seem to be able to hook it up as Joe. Pits then, yes, for the Mercedes team.
Big pit stop there from Joe. LCR Leopard coming in. Bastic following in behind. Do they both get it slowed down? They do. Bastic giving him a nudge on the way into the pit lane. Goodness me, that was right on the limit between those guys there. Yeah, they're all coming in. Look at them all. Joe, Leopard, they're both in. Yeah, so they are. That could be a problem. That could be a problem. I'm going to keep an eye on this. There's several drivers, 6 cars, all coming into the pits on this lap alone. That could lead to queues, mainly down at Renault. Are they going to get it right?
Oh, they've nailed it. Oh, just slow. In real life, they would have got away with that, but not in this game. It's frustrating, but there it is. And I think Sarah's got ahead of Bastek as well. Where's Jason?
And crucially, Kyle Mitchell is ahead of Joe
he's leading
by a decent margin. And where is Jason compared to Joe? Behind him by a second. So Kyle Mitchell here is going to take the net lead of this Grand Prix, almost certainly. Wow!
That came out of nowhere, didn't it? He just pulled it out the bag, and he really was on it as well, because he's pulling clear of Jason at such a rate of knots that McLaren will ease himself into the lead for this British Grand Prix. His biggest danger then will now come from the threat behind the 2 Mercs on soft tyres.
Absolutely. Remember though, Kyle Mitchell does have a 3-second time penalty, as does the race leader at the moment, Veloci Surprise. How close are these 2 Mercedes going to be, James? Are they going to end up squabbling with one another and allow Kyle Mitchell to have an easy reign out front? We'll wait and see as OMG It's Joe continues round as Surprise now comes into the pit lane. This is the key to the Grand Prix. Snazzy evening. Only 5.7 seconds behind Surprise, despite starting last after 16 laps. That is astonishing effort from Snazzy Evening, isn't it?
I actually think he might have a sniff at a podium here, Snazzy Evening. I really do. On soft tyres, we know what this boy can do on Banzai, last-minute runs on soft tyres. I actually think he's got a huge chance here to really, really ruin the... Well, even just damage the hopes, dent the hopes of the guys in the front. As we watch Joe, as Kyle Mitchell will take the lead of the British Grand Prix, has got past Surprise. Joe stayed ahead of his teammate. Will Jason follow him through as well? I think he might. No, he hasn't. No, he's come out behind to follow Jason Price on this occasion. Pinecone with the fastest lap of the race. It's all kicking off in behind. Snazzy Evenings come out in 7th place, ahead of Pinecone, crucially.
Ahead of Pinecone, and he is 8 tenths behind LCR Leopard. He's going to have to cut through quite a few cars to get up towards that podium place, but given the pace he's shown so far, I wouldn't put it past him. He's going well. OMG's Joe is slicing and cutting and smashing the gap to bits to Kyle Mitchell, your new race leader. So it's looking good for OMG It's Joe, who's putting together a fine run of form as things stand. He's the only one of the top 3 without a time penalty.
Flat through cops. That is crazy in race conditions.
Absolutely flying as OMG It's Joe. He told me off the other day for always referring to Pinecone as a youngster and Leopard as a youngster. He's a youngster too, and he is another hot young talent, and he's about to take the lead away from Kyle Mitchell. He's going to go right round the outside, isn't he? And that should be easy peasy. He's making it look easy. It isn't in reality. And OMG It's now It's Joe moves up into the lead of the British Grand Prix with a really tidy move, and I am very, very, very impressed with the race he's putting together today, James. This is brilliant stuff, and a fastest lap to go with it.
He's driving an absolute barnstorm at the moment, so OMG It's Joe. This is vintage from him at the moment. Just brilliant stuff. Carl Mitchell trying to come back at him though on those medium tyres. I mean, they will have sort of similar tyre life towards the end of the stint here. It's that crossover period as to who will have the better set of tyres coming into the race. There's only 8 laps to go of this, but you know, it's going to still stay relatively close together. Snazzy Evening is trying to pick his way through against Leopard. Was quite close to the 3, not on this occasion though. And Surprise has got to flex his muscles now against the McLaren.
Yeah, absolutely. Can the McLaren keep himself within DRS range to these guys? Because if he can, as you say, James, he might have a fighting chance towards the end of the Grand Prix. I would say it's a tall order, but we don't know. We're going to shuffle down the order a little bit. Why not? Keep an eye on some of the drivers further down the order. Let's go on board with WOR Verstappen as he chases Bastek for the final couple of points in the lower reaches of the top 10. 3 tenths away at the moment, and looks like quite a nice little battle developing there, James, isn't it?
Absolutely. Verstappen Now, he's had his torrid time so far this season, but he's definitely pulled it all together at Silverstone, really pulling it out of the bag in the Williams, and he's really up behind Paztek Lenu, as we know, finished second last time out in Austria, and here comes Verstappen then, he's looking for a move, possibly down towards Stowe Corner. Will he go for the late lunge? No, he thinks better of it on this occasion and sits in behind that Haas for now and goes very wide through Stowe Corner. Will he get a good run? Probably not, and then down towards the braking zone, still not close enough on this occasion. Surprises lining an opportunity up against Carl Mitchell and has even set the fastest lap of this Grand Prix.
He said he'd flex his muscles, James, and that's exactly what he's doing. And surprise now right there on the back of Kyle Mitchell. But to be fair to Kyle, he's not exactly dropping off the back of OMG's Joe, is he? So after being reeled in very quickly, he's not very quickly disappearing. And he's now right in this group and has got every possibility of having a fighting chance at the end. There's only 7 laps to go here. And it's a good effort from him. Oh, he gets that one wrong though. Surprise, either a little too hot into the corner or Kyle Mitchell a little too shallow, one of the two. And Surprise needs to get his foot down now, or Joe will break that DRS. Here we go. This is going to get tasty. Down towards Copse Corner we go. Surely not round the outside. Oh, he thought about it. Can he cut back on the exit? Oh, goodness me. He was nearly on the grass there. That almost led to a massive shunt, as we almost seen in qualifying from another driver, LCR Leopard, I believe it was, in qualifying. Here comes Surprise then, right behind Kyle, but Kyle's going to get DRS. It's not going to be an easy move for Surprise. He's going to have to be daredevil on the brakes. Can he do it as Joe continues to give Kyle the toe? No, he can't. No chance of doing it. Behind that, though, there's a big chance of LCR Leopard passing CRL Rosberg. Is he going to do it? No, not quite, as they reach for the brake pedal, and it remains Rosberg 5th and Leopard 6th, but he's got a magnificent exit. Whoa. Down the outside he goes. Slight contact. We'll watch from behind with Snazzy Evening, who's waiting patiently to pounce, and this is the moment he will take the pounce, side by side with Leopard through the final corner, touching wheels, and now they're going to go jostling into the first turn. How does that work? It works very well for Snazzy Evening, and he takes the place away up into 6th place. Wow, this racing is brilliant.
It's banzai stuff. It's like the last race these guys will ever race is this race, because they are all on the limit. And Surprise, once again getting close to Carl Mitchell, still hasn't cleared the McLaren. He's just hurting his race now. Sat behind that McLaren, he needs to get past the challenger's teammate. It's all been in behind. It is properly kicking off.
Yeah, is it possible that OMG's Joe is deliberately keeping Kyle Mitchell in his DRS a la Lewis Hamilton in Abu Dhabi in 2016? What do you think? Potentially.
Well, I think it maybe is the definite possibility. He needs that buffer there, doesn't he? If he doesn't have that buffer, I think he's maybe not a sitting duck, but he's definitely not got that advantage anymore of having Carl Mitchell behind him. And he's not, you know what, Carl Mitchell's closing in on Joe here. He's not out of contention. This is what I mean. The mediums are going to go back into their own towards the end of the soft stint, and it's going to really, really be a jostle between all these guys at the front of the field. This could be crazy stuff. A Snazzy Evening dive down the inside through Stowe Corner, and he's moved with Rosberg. He got the move done. Rosberg was in another county right there, but he's managed to get his way through as the McLaren into 5th place to goes. I mean, that was brilliant stuff from Snazzy. Did have to get his elbows out, but I think that is kind of what you've got to do at Stowe Corner. I don't think you're going to get properly clean side by side through there. Someone's getting off the road.
Yeah, I've got to say, I'm very, 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 very impressed with the drivers on the racetrack. Oh my goodness, it's Leopard now. Sticks one up the inside of CRL Rosberg. No way through there. He's now going to try. That's dangerous. Oh, goodness me. He somehow squeezes alongside through there. They're 2x2 down the straight. A Snazzy Evening puts another move on another driver. Leopard, whoa! That was on the limit. That was probably over the limit as he steamed up the inside there. He got the move done. Did use Jason as a brake slightly, but it somehow paid off and there's no damage to either car. Wow, Leopard was feisty there. Probably a little too eager on the brakes, James.
Possibly so. It's not that kind of limit that you want to see from Leopard, but he is up. We've heard a lot about that sort of thing in the past, and not too dissimilar from what we've seen in the past. And now it's the case, as I said, Snazzy Evening. I said in the pit stop phase, watch him, because he's got a great chance here of getting some really, really good points. From a back of the grid, he's 4th on merit here. This is genuine. This is no pit stops out of the way. He is 4th place. Virtual safety car's out.
Yeah, we've got jam pancakes in the wall, have we? I'm trying to find out where. It's down at Magazine Beckett somewhere. Where is his car? I don't know.
Pit?
I doubt it. It's far too slow a pit lane. too late in the race to do it, so I don't expect anyone to come into the pits at this stage. Perhaps WR Verstappen maybe to 11 seconds ahead of Feisty Ted. No, I wouldn't have thought so. That's
We've gone
asking
great.
too much, and we're back underway again. So no need for it there. Another thing I want to talk about on the OMG It's Joe situation, he needs to close the gap to Veloci Surprise. Joe can be attacked. He's not got a 3-second time penalty, the guys behind do. If he breaks the DRS and lets Surprise pass Kyle, then there's only a 7-point gain on Surprise. If he keeps it the way it is, he could potentially gain 10 points on Veloci Surprise. So this is very, very, very smart driving from OMG It's Joe if that is what he's trying to do. Because even if Kyle does have better tyres at the end of the race, it won't matter because Joe doesn't have a penalty and the two behind him do. Clever driving.
It is very intelligent driving from him. And the other thing you've got to consider now is, what is this pace actually like relative to all those behind them? Because Joe is obviously now the benchmark, leading this Grand Prix. But is he faster than Snazzy Evening on fresh tyres, charging in fourth place?
Oh, here we go. This is a real chance for Surprise now. He's right behind Kyle. He got a sensational exit there. He's going to try and go down the outside. He can't do it. As you just said, James, he can't really make a clean move there. Kyle's all over the road, struggling to keep it on the circuit. Surprise has got to run round the outside. Kyle won't give him that though, will he? Oh, he's going to fight for it. It's Surprise. And he fights as hard as he can, but there's no way Kyle Mitchell's giving that up, and he retains the place. Right, this is going to be the real test. 9/10 the gap between Joe and Kyle. Will Joe slow down? Will that gap go up? This will really tell us if Joe's quicker and if Joe's doing this deliberately. This will really, really tell us, James. And Leopard has got ahead of Jason through turns 1 and 2.
And Pine goes up the inside as well into towards turn 3, and he's got the move done as well. He's just nailing every overtake so far today as Pinecone. He's had a brilliant afternoon of racing. And once again, it's still close between Surprise and Carl Mitchell. But as you say, you're right. Will Joe decide to pull away? Well, actually, I think maybe now there's a chance that he can just break away. He's sort of held those tyres back for that many laps. If that's what he's done, if the pace is really not that strong, he's then holding back the tyres there. And if he's now got that bit more energy, and he feels like he can punch it a bit more, then this is where we'll see Joe in his element. He needs to pull away as soon as he can and leave these two maybe to their own devices just to scrap against each other.
Well, if I were Joe, I wouldn't do that. He doesn't have a 3-second time penalty, the two behind do, so just give Kyle the DRS, that's what I would do, and then get extra points gained on your teammate. He's not done that, and this time round, Surprise is going to cruise through and easily move up into second place, and instead of a 10-point gain on a potential title rival, it's only going to be 7. So has Joe missed a trick there? I think he has, personally, James, and Surprise is through. He won't win the race because Joe doesn't have a penalty, but he is crucially only losing 7 points now. Good move, easy as you like. Kyle could do nothing without the DRS to the car in front.
Absolutely couldn't do anything, and Snazzy's not really gaining on anyone at the moment. He's just kind of keeping himself to himself in fourth place, but nonetheless a really good performance from Snazzy, and would probably go as far as one of my drivers of the day, if anything, because that is some performance to come from the back of the grid here and finish fourth against some of these really hard oppositions. You've got to look in that top 10 and say, well, actually, the quality there is crazy, and there's such a train still forming behind Leopard for 5th place in this Grand Prix. It's brilliant stuff. Pinecone lining Leopard up here in towards Brooklyn's corner. He's going to get the move done under braking, well before the brakes actually. Pinecone's up the inside and retakes 5th place. What an afternoon of racing that Alfa Romeo has had. He's properly gone hard as nails on everyone around him, and he's seemingly just getting these moves done, picking them off one by one. It's a great little drive from Pinecone, really impressed by him.
I'm honestly struggling to pick out a driver of the day today. I know Joe has been sensational, he really has. Kyle has put in a sensational shift. Snazzy Evenings came from the back of the grid and showing phenomenal pace to finish potentially 6 or 7 seconds off the lead from where he was. Pinecone has pulled some great moves. Jason was solid in the early phase and will gain places back due to penalties. I really am struggling to pick my driver of the day today. I mean, I'm going to wait to the end of the Grand Prix before picking it, but it is really tough. It really is, James, isn't it?
It really is. These two Mercedes getting close together on the circuit with only a couple of laps to go of this British Grand Prix. They may be in a fight together, they may be speaking to each other, but, you know, I think these guys are hard racers as they are. They'll go for this. So this could be an interesting end to the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, and what a Grand Prix this has been.
I think it means a lot to OMG It's Joe to finish this race ahead of Veloci Surprise on the road. I really do believe that. Whether he knows he's got a penalty or not, I think that means something to OMG It's Joe, and he is defending. Look at that, to the middle of the road he goes, and Surprise can do nothing on this occasion, but he's very, very close. Surprise got 30% battery left. Joe's got a little bit more than that, so it's quite even on the battery stakes. But Surprise with the DRS should have a bit of an advantage there. Are these two going to risk the 1-2 and go battling together, even though it's set in stone, because Surprise has a penalty? We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Anyone tuning in, let us know who your driver of the day is in the remaining couple of laps. There are so many contenders. Is it going to be the likes of OMG? It's Joe putting together a brilliant race. Kyle Mitchell showing some fine form. Snazzy Evening from the back of the grid. Pinecone pulling some great moves too. Go on, let us know. But here comes this brilliant battle. The Mercedes, just as he did earlier on in the Grand Prix. Surprise tries the outside. Joe's wise to it this time. Beautiful cover move there from OMG. It's Joe. Surprise, dicing and diving left and right looking for the spot. He can't do it. Joe now locks up into the final couple of corners, but it stays the way they were as they go on to lap number 26 out of 26 of the ILR1 Xbox British Grand Prix. This is a stonker, an absolute screamer. Surprise trying again round the outside into the loop entrance. Now through the loop they go. Still can't find a way through. Verstappen's got ahead of Rosberg on this final lap, but for now we stick with this as we take the helicopter camera down the straight, zigzagging his OMG. It's Joe. Surprise has a route down the outside. Is he going to find a way through? He is. They're making contact down there. Still brilliant racing between them, side by side through left field. Surprise is ahead and up into the lead on the road, but he does have a time penalty. Joe switching back to the outside, down to Cops Corner. This is astonishing stuff. Surprise gets there ahead and holds his lead, but Joe is using every ounce of that battery. Maggots and Beckett's, folks. Maggots and Beckett's, for goodness sake. And Joe has unbelievably found a way through there. Have you ever seen anything like it? Surprise fighting back again. This has got to be one of the best battles I've ever seen in league racing history. Surprise is through again. Absolutely unbelievable. And Joe isn't finished yet. He hasn't finished yet. Down the outside. Surprise covers it brilliantly. Kyle spun. He's hit him. He's hit him. But in the final corner, Surprise is going to see the flash first. But OMG, it's Joe, as a result of the time penalty, wins the race. All I have to say is well done to the two Mercedes drivers. Despite the time penalty, they cared, they showed pride, they wanted to show us viewers a real battle, and they delivered with possibly the best sequence of league racing action in any league, anywhere, and any time. James, your thoughts?
That was absolutely unbelievable. There's no words to describe just the commitment between those two on that final lap, those final few laps of that Grand Prix. I'm gonna raise it as high as you, Andy, there. That is the best sequence of league racing overtakes I've ever seen. The battling there is one for the archives. It is one that will be lived and just recommended by everyone anywhere you look in the league racing world. These two aren't even in esports, but I'm telling you now, with races like that in the future, these guys will be for certain. They are unbelievably talented, and that was just on the limits of anything possible. You would not never ever have believed those two properly racing as hard as that. These people have been watching league racing between these two drivers in particular, maybe for the last couple of years, a year and a half, 2 years, and waited for that absolute titanic battle. And we finally got it here at Silverstone, the home Grand Prix for the pair of them, and it's a barnstormer at Silverstone.
Wow, wow. Can I just say, that Snazzy Evening on the podium. Wow,
yeah.
What a recovery that was from 17th place on the grid to third. We got carried away at the end there, quite rightly too, with the battle of the Silver Arrows. Kyle Mitchell spinning, handed his teammate an astonishing podium. The Estonian comes from 17th to third. What an effort from him that was. What an effort from the two Mercedes drivers. Commitment, respect, desire to race and show who was the best, despite the time penalty not meaning anything in that battle at the end. They gave us viewers and commentators and everyone else watching An absolutely classic ending to a brilliant race. The British Grand Prix goes down as a classic. So many drivers put together a fine race today. So many raced brilliantly, side by side. I can't remember a race like it where the action was so clean, so respected, and so brilliant to watch. James, take us through the results. Unbelievable.
Yeah, we know the top two. It's Joe has won the British Grand Prix from Surprise, and Snazzy Evening in third. Pinecone fourth, Leopard in fifth, Carl Mitchell finishes the road in sixth with a time penalty. Just really unfortunate, he got so close on so many occasions. Jason is seventh, Baztek eighth in the end. To be fair to Verstappen, a fine drive to finish ninth ahead of Rosberg, who actually finishes where he starts in 10th. And then everyone in behind really just did have a race maybe to forget, maybe a race of attrition, maybe a race which maybe they would say wasn't the cleanest for themselves, but that is the way that league racing goes sometimes, I'm afraid. On this occasion, hasn't gone in the favour for them. But Andy, what I will say is just imagine if that wasn't with a penalty. Those two are going for that without a penalty. I mean, could you imagine? It would be unbelievable. It would be perfect, I think.
I mean, yes, absolutely. But I mean, to be honest, if they're going to do that and battle like that on the racetrack, it didn't even feel like the penalty was there watching it. It really didn't. And that is what I'm getting at with these two drivers there. That was brilliant. I called it a couple of laps before it. It matters to Joe, even with the time penalty Surprise has, to finish on the road ahead of him. And we saw that. It was clear as day. And that is what made that so good. And you know what? They didn't run into each other either. That was brilliant. It was absolutely fantastic stuff to watch at the end. Brilliant from them. Even in the midfield, it was all kicking off. Snazzy's on the podium from 17th. And that's being overshadowed by what has just taken place. That was astonishing. I cannot go over that. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
It was just unbelievable. I'd really want to see what a lot of people in the chat just have to say about that, really. I just can't get over how good a race that was, how good the battling was between those two. It was quite unbelievable, and I now get the lovely privilege of having to speak to these two drivers and just, deciphering what I can from what I'd imagine is still quite a bit of adrenaline. Although a lot of people outside esports will say you don't get adrenaline from league racing, I'm sure there is a bit of blood flowing right now, and the heart beating a little bit faster than they care to imagine. And thankfully for us, we've got MG Joe in the party alongside Veloce Surprise. Joe, the winner of the British Grand Prix, thanks to a penalty that Veloce Surprise picked up. But nonetheless, Joe, that was, we described it in the commentary box as possibly the greatest league racing battle we've ever seen. It was just crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, Jesus Christ. I don't know where to start because that was, everything was on the line there. To go through my race, quali was interesting. I got pole on my first lap, and then no one really did any more laps because, the weather was a bit odd. I got an alright start. Me and Josh were side by side through turn 1, 2, maybe 3. And then from there on, it was just, you can't get out of someone's DRS at this track. It's almost impossible. So I was just saving my ERS, saving everything in the first stint. And then we swapped around a bit, and then I decided to go for the undercut, knowing that my tyres would be a bit screwed at the end, but it'd be worth it just to get track position. And I got in between. When I was passing Kyle Mitchell, he defended, and I realised, okay, he's not going to make this easy for me. He's not going to make it for Josh. Easy for Josh. So I decided to try and keep it within my DRS for it to be hard for Josh to pass him, and so I could save a bit my ERS. But eventually he got past, and then my ERS was a bit shot. And then that last lap battle, I haven't really got any words. I knew Josh had a penalty, so I wasn't gonna put absolutely everything on the line. But I put pretty much nearly all of it. And I think he knew he would have to do something pretty insane to win the race with the penalty. So it was pretty much as close as you can get without crashing.
Yeah, it was probably on the limit, wasn't it? But in terms of, I think, an outside, other than the race itself, the result of the race is actually more crucial. I think a lot of people care to believe, but actually it puts you in quite good stead for the rest of the season. I think that's your third win in a row, and you've had a second place finish in that time as well. Well, in the 4 races we've just had, you've had a second place finish as well, where Josh maybe hasn't had the performances of recent races, or certainly France wasn't the best race, dare I say, that he's ever had. But you've got to feel like momentum is now on your side. You've got a chance here to really take the fight to your teammate.
Yeah, at one point I was about 110 points off in the championship, I think, and now I'm only 50, so I was thinking, okay, it's not really possible. I'm just going to try and get a bit of a reputation again, try and win a few races. And Josh has had, he's had quite bad luck. I know France, did he disconnect there? I don't really know, but Austria, he probably should have won that. But it's kind of put me back in the fray almost for the championship. It's not going to be easy, but I don't know. There's now a chance, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, we've only just really looked at the halfway stage of the season. I mean, so much has gone on in that time. It's pretty crazy how it's all chopped and changed, and Josh has stayed on top. But I mean, congratulations on the win once again. Just unbelievable battle. Just have massive kudos to you, both of you two, for that race. It was just brilliant. We moved to Josh in second place, and whenever I always say as well, commiserations on a second place, I really do mean it in this one, because that was so hardly fought between you two. I mean, just sum it up for us, John. I mean, if you could sum it up for us, I mean, it'd be lovely, because it'd do my job for me. But definitely definitely one of the harder races you had out there.
Yeah, it was a good race. Not too disappointed finishing second. It could be worse. Syrah, I don't know what happened to him off the start, but I think he dropped down quite a bit. So I knew it was just between me and Joe, and then it's just about, we were both just saving tyres, ERS, and then I picked up a penalty, and I knew Joe wouldn't get one, so I just knew I had to try and fight, just do something, try and make him pick up a warning, anything like that. And then, as you've seen, after I got past Kyle Mitchell, I just went for it. No more sticking behind in the slipstream. I just did everything I could, and it was a good battle. Clean, fair, hard. Even though I didn't win, definitely happier than usual. So yeah.
Definitely sound happier than usual. Don't take that the wrong way. I'm joking with you. But all things, the jokes aside, there. I mean, recent results, haven't been amazing. Maybe to your high standards at the start of the season you had. It's definitely maybe a dip in form so far this season. But it's results like that can help you just sort of revitalise your season almost, just try to get back on track, as it were.
As you would have seen, Canada and France definitely weren't great, and Joe got second and first, lost a lot of points there. And then Austria, the disconnect when I was leading, that was unfortunate as well. But you're definitely right. Really haven't picked up many points at all, really. The championship, I still think it's fairly under control, but obviously it only takes another France to happen for Joe to be right back in it. Fair play to him, coming from, I don't even know how far back, but it was quite a big gap, and now he's almost back in it. So it should be a good fight to the end.
Absolutely. Congratulations, commiserations on second place. Andy, we'll go and just talk about that race quickly for a second, but there's no words, no superlatives to describe what we've just witnessed there, because it was unbelievable. It was incredible. It was just a barnstormer, quite frankly. It was brilliant stuff. But I mean, what can you say after a race like that?
I've got to say thank you to the Mercedes drivers for, despite there being a 3-second time penalty hanging over one of their heads, and really they could have just played it out in a boring fashion, for actually going wheel to wheel, throwing the ERS modes in the bin at the end, and just going tonto Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What a finish to the race. That's what we want to see. That is what we love to see. Maggots and Beckett's. What? I mean, how do you make a move there? What is going on? Absolutely crazy. Great racing there. Unbelievable. I can't believe how good it was. As I think Joe mentioned, it was as close as you can get without crashing, and it really was that. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. I've got to also mention Snazzy Evening. What an astonishing drive he had from the back of the grid. If he had qualified near the front, I've got no doubt he'd have been up there, because he was incredible on pace today. I can't pick the driver of the day. I simply can't. There were so many drivers in that field today putting on a good show. It was brilliant. It was honestly one of the best races from an overall perspective from every driver in the field, putting on a good race, and we just didn't know where to look at times. Oh, is Leopard diving up the inside at turn 3? Have we got the two Mercedes fighting? Have we got Pinecone diving up the inside somewhere? It was mental. It was absolutely mental. And here's to more of that. I'm running out of words now. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And we move on to the next one, which, I mean, I don't even know where it is. Is it Hungary? Is it Hungary next? Germany? Okay, Germany. Well, if it's anything like the real-life German Grand Prix, we're in for an absolute screamer, and I'm sure it will. Anyway, folks, that's all from me. That's all from James. Thank you, James, for joining me and doing those interviews, and thank you to the two Mercedes guys for joining us and treating us to that astonishing finish. As I described, one of the best, or the best, sequence of racing moments in league racing history that I've ever seen. It was brilliant. So be sure to join us next week, folks, for the German Grand Prix, where I'm sure these guys will once again deliver another incredible race. See you guys then.